You ever feel like something was watching you, even when you're completely alone? This happened to me in July of 2016, and I haven't talked about it much until now, mostly because no one believed me. But part of me hopes someone else out there knows what I'm talking about, that I'm not alone in this. It started as a summer trip with old friends, one of those spontaneous road trips that feel like the start of a good memory. Turns out, it was the start of something else. There were 4 of us: me, my girlfriend Riley, and our 2 best friends, Eli and Tessa. We drove up to an old lakeside cabin Eli's uncle owned, way out in the forest. No Wi-Fi, no cell signal, just pine trees, water, and silence. It was beautiful, peaceful. The kind of place where the air smells like smoke and moss, where time slows down. We spent the first night drinking around the fire, listening to frogs and cicadas, and talking about the dumbest stuff. You know, the way you do when you think you're safe and invincible. But the lake was always quiet. Not a single ripple, even when the wind picked up. The next night, after a few drinks, Riley dared us to go swimming. It was around midnight. Warm night, full moon. Everything felt calm. We stripped down to our swimsuits and ran off the dock into the black water, laughing and splashing around like kids. But after a few minutes, something shifted. The water got cold. Like unnaturally cold. And only in certain spots, like underwater currents that weren't there before. I remember diving under and hearing nothing. Total silence. Not even the muffled sounds of the others splashing. When I came back up, the moon was hidden by clouds, and the whole lake felt wrong. Riley was the first to say it. Do you feel like something's under us? Eli started swimming back to the dock, fast. Tessa followed him. I stayed in with Riley a bit longer. She was treading water, holding onto my shoulder, whispering that she didn't like how the water felt, thick like syrup. That's when she gasped and went under. I dove after her immediately, reaching through black nothing, grabbing at limbs that weren't there. I panicked, came up for air, and she was already on the dock, coughing, soaking wet. I swear she went under right next to me, but she somehow surfaced all the way back there. She swore something pulled her down, something with hands. We dried off and locked every door. We all agreed to just sleep it off, pretend it was adrenaline, alcohol, or maybe a cramp. But later that night, I woke up to a dripping sound. Not like a faucet. This was rhythmic, like someone walking slowly across wet wood. I crept down the hallway and looked out the window facing the dock. And there was someone, or something, standing at the edge of it. Tall, still, looking out at the lake. I thought maybe it was Eli, but when I checked, he was asleep on the couch. Everyone was inside. I didn't go back to sleep. We decided to leave the next morning, but the car wouldn't start. Battery was drained. We hadn't even used it. Riley started crying, saying we needed to leave now. Eli and I tried to calm her down, saying we'd get it jumped by afternoon. Around 6 p.m., Tessa went missing. We found her shoes by the edge of the dock, and wet footprints leading back into the woods. We called her name for hours. Never heard a thing. By nightfall, Eli and Riley refused to leave the cabin, but I kept pacing by the window. At exactly midnight, the lights flickered, and the same wet footprints appeared on the wooden porch. One step at a time, coming closer. But no one was there. We got rescued the next day by a ranger doing a rounds check. We told him everything, except for the footprints. That part, we kept to ourselves. They never found Tessa. They searched the lake for days. Nothing. But the ranger did ask us something odd. He said, "You know, that lake's known for pulling people in. Locals don't swim after dark." He looked at me and said, "Water remembers, you know. Things sink, but they don't always stay down." I think about that line a lot, especially when it rains, or when I hear dripping sounds in my apartment, even when the taps are off. I haven't swum in a lake since, and I never ever go near water after midnight.
You know those childhood memories that feel a little off? Like when something weird happens but no one believes you. And over time, you almost convince yourself it didn't happen. I used to think the creepiest thing in the world was the deep end of a swimming pool. Not sharks, not monsters, just the silence, the pressure, the way you feel totally alone at the bottom. I was 12 the summer it happened, and I haven't gone swimming since. My aunt and uncle had this old house in Florida with a backyard pool. It was awesome, kidney-shaped, old-school tile, deep end with a diving board. I stayed with them for 2 weeks that summer while my parents were out of the country. During the day, it was normal. Hot weather, sprinklers, popsicles, sunscreen. But at night, the pool changed. I don't mean temperature or color. I mean something about it felt different. Still, heavy, like it was waiting for something. On my first night there, my cousin Taylor, who was 15 and kind of a jerk, told me, "Whatever you do, don't swim after dark. My parents say the pool's cursed or haunted or something." He laughed afterward like it was a joke, but his face didn't quite match his voice. I thought he was just trying to scare me. So of course, a few nights later, I decided to prove I wasn't afraid. It was around 11 p.m. Everyone was asleep. I snuck out the back door in my swimsuit and tiptoed to the edge of the pool. The water was weirdly warm. No breeze, no insects, just the soft sound of the pool filter humming, and the occasional splash from my own movements. I swam to the deep end, dove down, opened my eyes, and at the very bottom I saw something. A shape, curled up, pale. At first I thought it was a pool toy or a reflection, but it moved. It twitched, like it had just noticed me noticing it. I shot to the surface so fast I slammed my hand on the diving board on the way up. There was nothing there. I didn't sleep that night. The next day, I asked my aunt about it. She went quiet, said, "That pool's always had problems." Then she said something I'll never forget. "It's not the pool that's haunted, it's the water." She told me the house was built on top of an old motel that had a pool. The site was filled in, leveled, and built over in the 80s. But back in the 60s, a girl drowned there, a teenager, alone at night. They found her the next morning, face down, still clutching the drain grate. They said she was trying to climb out, but something was pulling her down. I begged to leave. My parents were unreachable. Taylor told me I was just imagining it. But that night I saw him sneak outside, shirtless, holding goggles. I watched from the window as he walked to the pool and dove in. I waited for him to come back up, but he never did. I ran outside screaming, flipped on the pool lights, and saw nothing. No splashes, no ripples, just clear, empty water. And at the very bottom, those same curled limbs, slowly drifting back into the drain. They found Taylor the next morning, floating, face down, just like the girl. They ruled it an accident, said he must have hit his head or passed out. But I know what I saw. That pool never felt empty after that. And sometimes, when I close my eyes underwater, I see a girl's face just beneath mine, watching, waiting. So if you ever go swimming at night and feel something brush your ankle, don't look down. Just get out.